This is a bit of a walkthrough for what I did yesterday as far as wiring up the VLEDs, the V3, whatever the hell it's called. You can see that's the bulb in there. They're extremely bright. Unfortunately it's daytime right now, so I can't really do a whole lot about showing you the great output, but I'll show you the output. But my wiring, so for the reverse lights, this is the factory plug, and this green wire along with this gray wire, they both fed down to the factory reverse lights, which the way that I have it set up right now, they're in op. I'm going to be cutting out this big black piece, so I didn't care about keeping them or using them in conjunction with the V3s. So what I did is I left the green wire following its normal path. The gray wire, instead of running the same direction, I just spliced a small section here, soldered it together, and ran it the other way. And then I followed this loom, which feeds, I think this feeds the other taillight. And then the way that they're connected is, let's see, right? See where that green wire terminates? Right, it's basically, oh shit, it's kind of hard to show. So the green wire terminates into this blue wire right here. And that blue wire on mine, I know FuzzyMachinist said his was the red pin, which controlled reverse lights. Mine is the blue pin. And it's the blue pin coming from this 7443 connector. And this is the factory 7440 plug. This is the adapter that runs the 7443 to the V3 3-pin connector. And all you have to do is turn this, or plug this in, turn on your flashers, and make sure it's oriented the right way. If your blinkers don't blink, like if this V3, I had everything laid out here in the trunk just to make sure everything worked, and if it doesn't blink, turn this 180 degrees, do it again, chances are it'll work. If not, then there's something else messed up because it should work. So then that blue pin, that's now soldered and connected straight to this green wire. I've got it all zip tied up out of the way. So whenever reverse is engaged, it jumps there instead of having to cut this off and solder in a 7443 plug, which is what I was going to do originally, but at least this way, if I ever have to go back to factory, I can. I'm going to have to run new wires for reverse lights, but like I said, I'm cutting out that big black piece, so I'm going to have to figure out what to do for reverse lights if I ever go back to stock. So the ballast, igniter, whatever the hell that thing is for the LEDs, I didn't think LEDs would need that, but maybe this one does because it's so powerful, whatever. I hung that off one of the taillight bolts, that stud and that nut over there. That's far enough out of the way and back behind this cover so that it doesn't bind up. Everything still works the way it should. I've got everything relatively zip tied together so it's not banging around back here. Something else you're gonna have to do is when you pull the plug out from that hole right there, that's a bulkhead connector which holds this little rubber plug, and your factory wiring to your reverse lights goes through this. And you're gonna have to put that back in there, otherwise you're gonna have an open hole to just bring dirt and dust in. I mean, I know you have the vents and shit down there that'll let that stuff in, but I didn't want any more. So all I did was, I'm gonna reuse this. I just got a metal plug. It's actually from a short shifter from another install that I'm not using. And then I zip tied it. Then we're just gonna set it through and put it back in the factory spot. So that's it as far as the install. Relatively straightforward, pretty much plug and play. You've got two wires to snip, 2 wires to solder, and figure out how to mount everything. I'll see what I can do as far as getting a walk around with the lights on so you can see the output difference. This is going to be a fairly straightforward walk around. My front bulbs, I have blacked out housings. They're BRZ lights, and I blacked out the reflector for the blinker. So they're fairly dark, and they're also the chrome tinted or the chrome covered bulbs, so they're invisible even if you don't have blacked out housings. So they're not very bright. I'll back up and show you the front. I mean, you can see them, but they're certainly not that bright. So then we'll head around to the back. And if you're directly behind this thing, it's pretty blinding. I know what FuzzyMachinist was saying now when he said he wants to use his reverse lights as auxiliaries. Alright, and that's pretty shitty because the sunlight's picking up a lot of that. But, I mean, you can see how much it's actually flaring out the screen compared to the front. So, they work pretty damn well. So I'll throw the reverse on. And these are the reverse lights. Again, you can see how flared out they are. Same as the orange. So I'm going to pull it into my garage and actually get a light output picture. But, unfortunately, my garage is small. So you'll get to see how tiny it is, but how much light it actually does throw. And it is impressive. So first up, I'm going to show you guys the headlights so you can see the output. Now granted, my car's only a foot from the door, but these are factory BRZ headlights. Oh, great. Okay. So that's the output. You can see everything's kind of lit up. More from the reflection than anything. But all the way around, you can see in the garage. Okay, so these off. And we'll go and throw this in reverse. And now we'll take it to the lights. So, you can see how fantastically bright these are. And I don't think you can see as much in the front, typically because it doesn't have a white wall to bounce off of. But, I mean, I wasn't joking when I said these things are blinding if you get directly behind them. So,